Ever stop and think about the device you're watching this on right now? How did we get here? From a machine that took up an entire building to something that fits in your hand? Well, we're about to take a super fast tour through the history of computing to find out just that. It's honestly one of the most incredible stories of human innovation. The journey from these massive room-filling machines to the powerful personal devices that we all just carry around like it's nothing. And I mean, really, try to picture that for a second. The very first computers were absolute behemoths, these complex mazes of wires and glowing tubes that only a handful of scientists in the entire world could even get near. To this, the smartphone in your pocket. So how'd that happen? The answer lies in 5 distinct technological leaps, 5 generations that completely blew up our idea of what a computer could be. So here's our roadmap for this whole thing. We're going to start way back in the 1940s and bring it all the way up to the tech that you and I are using this very second. Okay, our story starts in what you could call the Age of Giants. The first 2 generations, they laid all the critical groundwork, even if the machines themselves were just wildly impractical by our standards today. At the very hearts of these first-generation computers was this one little thing, the vacuum tube. You can basically picture thousands of fragile glass light bulbs, and each one of them acted like a tiny switch. This was the fundamental building block, kind of like the electronic DNA of early computing. But building with vacuum tubes had some major drawbacks. These machines were enormous. They cost a fortune, and they sucked up a shocking amount of electricity. They also got so hot, they needed huge custom cooling systems just to keep from melting down. And forget about keyboards and screens, you had to talk to them using these clunky punched cards. A perfect example of this is the famous ENIAC. Get this, it had over 17,000 vacuum tubes, weighed almost 30 tons, and filled an entire room. This was computing on a truly colossal scale. So the contrast here couldn't be more dramatic. The solution to all those problems, the bulk, the heat, the unreliability of the vacuum tube, was this tiny little device that was about to change the entire world, the transistor. The transistor did the exact same job as a vacuum tube, but it was just better in every single way. It was way smaller, way more reliable, it generated almost no heat, and used a tiny fraction of the power. This wasn't just a small step up, it was a total revolution in electronics. And thanks to that transistor, second-generation computers were way faster and so much more efficient. For the very first time, they actually became practical tools for businesses and for scientists, finally moving out of the lab and into the real world. Now, this is what sets the stage for the next, and I think even more exciting era. This is where the whole idea of a computer for everyone really starts to take shape. We're moving from the giant corporation to the desktop. So the next big breakthrough was the integrated circuit, or the IC. The big idea was this. Instead of wiring up individual transistors one by one, what if you could just etch hundreds of them onto a single tiny chip of silicon? And the result? I mean, it was incredible. Computers became dramatically smaller, more powerful, and way cheaper to maintain. And crucially, this is when we see keyboards and monitors showing up for the first time, which made computers way more interactive and user-friendly. Machines like the IBM 360 series just completely dominated the business world. For the first time, businesses of all sizes could get their hands on serious computing power, which really cemented the computer as a must-have business tool. All right, so the 4th generation takes that idea of the integrated circuit and just takes one giant leap forward. The question became, what if you could put the entire brain of the computer, the whole CPU, onto a single chip? And the answer was the microprocessor. The microprocessor is the reason the personal computer exists, period. It's what made them small enough and affordable enough to actually sit on a desk in your home. This is the era that gave us all the stuff we take for granted now, like RAM for memory, and of course, the computer mouse. And you have to talk about the IBM PC, launched in 1981. It was a landmark event. It created this huge standard for hardware and software that brought computing into millions of homes and offices, and it pretty much defined what a PC was for a whole generation. And of course, there was its great rival, Apple. They introduced the Macintosh, which really pioneered the whole user-friendly graphical interface, clicking on icons.
They helped kick off the PC revolution and really pushed the idea that computers could be tools for creativity. So this incredible journey brings us right up to today, the 5th generation. But this one isn't just about making computers smaller or faster. No, this one is about a fundamental shift. It's about making them smarter.
The computers we have today are all defined by artificial intelligence. They're built on what's called ultra-large-scale integration, which is just a fancy way of saying there are billions of transistors on a single chip, and something called parallel processing, which basically means they can think about a ton of complex things all at once. I mean, just think about your smartphone. It's not just a calculator anymore, right? It's an assistant. It understands your voice, it recognizes your face, and it kind of anticipates what you need. That's the 5th generation in action, powered by things like touchscreens, biometrics, and even nanotechnology. So when you step back, it's pretty breathtaking. In just a few decades, we've gone from these room-sized calculators that cost a fortune to pocket-sized intelligent assistants. It's just an amazing progression. Which, leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to think about. We've seen vacuum tubes, transistors, integrated circuits, microprocessors, and now AI. What in the world is the fundamental technology that's going to define the 6th generation of computing? Well, that's a story that hasn't been written yet.